Hi everyone, this is Anna, one of your consumer technology specialists at Mid-Continent Public Library. Today we are going to continue our Browser Basics series by looking at how we can organize bookmarks in our web browsers. A bookmark is a link to a website that we save to make it easy to find and access the site again. People usually save bookmarks for websites that they use all the time or very often. We do have another video in this series that covered how to create a bookmark, so we aren't going to go through that in depth today, but that video can be accessed on our YouTube channel. The quickest way to create a bookmark is to click the star icon that is located in the address bar of our web browser. So I would navigate to the website that I want to save, and then when I'm there, I would find that star icon and click it just once. Each browser may have a slightly different pop-up menu that comes up when I click that star. This would be to complete the saving process, but they all give me an option to name my bookmark and then save it, or it might say done instead of save, but I will just click either of those options to confirm my bookmark's creation. And then to get started organizing my bookmarks, there are a couple of different approaches I could take. Basically, I could save them now or I could save them later. So if you have not started creating any bookmarks, you do have the option to basically just organize them as you go along. So every time you make a bookmark, you give it a specific place to live, a specific folder to save it in, and then you don't have to go back and organize them later. If you already have some bookmarks saved, or you just know that you have a lot of websites that you want to save and you just want to do that quickly and then go back and organize them, that is also an option. That is what we are going to be doing in this video today. Each browser has a few pre-made locations that we can start to save bookmarks. These are the places that the bookmarks are going to save automatically if we don't do any organizing. One of those is either a bookmarks or a favorites bar, and the other is a bookmark or favorites folder. We'll see these when we start organizing our bookmarks in each browser. We can also create our own folders. For the most part, these folders all do need to live within one of the pre-made saving locations, but we do have a little bit of flexibility that we'll look at in just a moment. Each browser also has a bookmark manager, and we can use that. That's what we're going to use to help us get organized. So let's just jump in and take a look at these features in a few popular web browsers. Today we are going to start with Firefox, and then we will also do Microsoft Edge and Google Chrome. So I am going to open Firefox from the icon I have on my desktop. I already have saved some bookmarks, as I mentioned before. They are currently displaying right under my address bar. So this is where the bookmarks bar lives. We do have the option to have it hidden or showing, so that can be turned on and off, but it will always live right underneath that address bar. But see on the end here on the right side, there are these two kind of arrows. This icon indicates that there are actually more bookmarks that won't fit on the screen. So that means I have so many bookmarks on my bookmarks bar that they can't all be listed when I have my window full screen. So if I click on the arrows, I can see a little menu of the other links that are not visible. I also haven't really saved these bookmarks in any order, So they're just kind of randomly laid out here in the order that I saved them. So I'm ready to use my bookmark manager to get these organized a little more. To get to the bookmark manager, I'm going to go up to my More menu in the top right corner. In Firefox, it looks like a hamburger kind of with 3 lines. So I'll click on that, and then I'm going to find bookmarks in this menu. It's just a little bit down from the top. So I can click that, and I'm going to get more menu options. So Manage Bookmarks is at the very bottom. I'm going to go down and I'll click that. So this window that we're going to be working in is set up fairly similarly to the File Explorer window that we would see for files on our computer. We have a menu bar across the top, and then we have a navigation pane on the left side where we can see folders, and then a viewing area on the right side. So let's look at the menu bar options in this Bookmark Manager window. On the left, we have Organize tab. So when I click that, I can see that from here, I can create a new bookmark or I can create a folder. I can also copy the bookmark that I currently have selected. The next tab in the menu bar is Views. This is where I can change the information I see about each bookmark and how they are sorted. So this is just going to help me if I want to resort my list as I'm looking at it or working through it. Import and Backup are the last tab that I have here on the menu bar. This has options to back up my bookmarks. I can also restore my bookmarks from another date. And then on the right side of this, I also have a search box. So still up there in kind of the menu bar area underneath where my window managers are on the right. I could use this search if I had so many bookmarks on my list that I was having a hard time scanning for specific ones. So those are all the options in the menu bar. Now, the navigation pane on the left is going to show us our current bookmarks and how they're organized. So as I click through the options, notice I have most of my bookmarks in the toolbar folder, so the bookmarks bar folder. Those are the ones we could see on my web page when we were looking at that. There's also a bookmark menu folder with a Firefox subfolder, and then there's an other bookmarks folder. So let me go back to the bookmark toolbar folder so that we can look at the bookmarks that we have here. It looks like if I were going to put these into different groups, it looks like I have some bookmarks that are music related. Some look like mid-continent links. Some look like they're book related. And then there's a couple here that don't really fit into any of those categories. So, I'm going to create a folder for each of the categories I just came up with so that I can group those bookmarks together. So if I go back to my Organize tab on the menu bar and click Add Folder, I can name my folder and then I'll click Save. And it does save into the bookmark toolbar because that is the folder I had selected when I made the new folder. You can see it is on the top of the list on the right side in the viewing pane. It is also nestled under the bookmark toolbar on the left. And to move the folder in the navigation pane, I would just click on it and drag and drop it on top of the folder I wanted it in. It doesn't look like I can drop it into the All Bookmarks folder. I have to choose one of the subfolders. So I'm going to move it from the toolbar. I'm going to put it in the Bookmarks menu folder. Okay, so then I can go ahead and make folders for my other categories. Remember, I'm going to do music, books, and the library. And then I'm going to go ahead and drag and drop each bookmark into the category folder that it corresponds with. And then with Firefox, I would have to come back to the Bookmark Manager to find these folders. So since I didn't save them to the toolbar, the way that I can look at them is by coming back to the Bookmark Manager. I can move an entire folder onto my bookmark bar. I'll just select it in the navigation pane, the whole folder, and then I'm going to drag it to the toolbar in that same list. And when I do that, I can see that the folder shows up on the toolbar or the bookmark bar rather than each individual link like I had before. So now I can go and click the folder on the bookmark bar, and I get a drop down with all of the bookmarks that I put in that folder. So this can be a really good option if you have a lot of bookmarks, but also need to be able to quickly access them. Because it's going to save space on the bookmark bar, but you'll still be able to access the links from there without having to go into the More menu of your browser. All right, so next I am going to look at Microsoft Edge. So I'll go ahead and click on the icon on my desktop to get it open. Microsoft Edge also has a bookmark toolbar, but they do call it a favorites bar, and the bookmarks they also call favorites. So that's just something to note. It's the same thing, they're just using different words. So you can access your favorites from this icon with the star and 3 lines that is just to the right of the address bar in the upper right corner of your window. So we can see right at the edge of that address bar is the star icon where we can save a bookmark, and then just outside of that address bar to the right is another star icon, but this one has the 3 lines. So when I click on that, I do get a drop-down menu. And from this drop-down, not only can I see the favorites bar links, I can also choose to add the current web page to favorites. I can create a new folder for my favorites. I can search, or I can click this ellipsis, which is the More menu option. If for some reason I don't see this favorites icon next to my address bar, I can also click the More menu that is for the web browser that's in the upper right area of the window. It's the ellipsis under the X that you would use to close the window. So that is the More menu for the entire web browsing window. We'll go ahead and click that, and then Favorites is on this menu. So when I click this link, it actually takes me to the exact same Favorites menu that we just looked at. I'm going to go ahead and click the More option within this Favorites menu. And then I'm going to select the first option, which is Open Favorites Page. So rather than having to do all my work in a little menu like that, this opens a web page where I can do the same things. And this is how the bookmark manager, or the favorites manager, is displayed for Microsoft Edge. So the page here also has a navigation pane on the left and a view pane on the right, just like the one in Firefox did. I also have 2 folder options. I've got a favorites bar and I've got other favorites. Once I select one of those in my viewer area, I have options that now I can add a new favorite, add a new folder, or choose how I want to sort my list. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder. So once I get that done, then I need to go back to my favorites bar folder to see the bookmarks that I've already made. And Edge gives us checkboxes that we can select to work with or move multiple links at once. So I'm going to go ahead and select all the library related links that I see. So here's a few. And notice that I do get a pop-up to delete the bookmarks or cancel, but I'm going to ignore that. And I'm just going to click and drag with my mouse from those highlighted bookmarks over to the left navigation pane. And I'm just going to hover it over my new folder. And then when I let go, it drops everything I had checkmarked into that folder. And then I can access them from the favorites menu icon, that star icon with the lines. Now I'm going to switch to the last browser we're going to look at. It is Google Chrome. And when I open it from my desktop icon, we can see the Bookmark Manager option is in a very similar location to the Edge browser. So we're going to do it through the More menu. It doesn't have that extra menu icon. So up in our upper right corner of our browsing window, there are 3 stacked dots. So that is the More menu. We'll select that. And then in this menu, Bookmarks is an option. So we'll select that. And then we get another pop-out menu that has Bookmark Manager as one of its options. So I'll click on that, and the page that opens, it does open as a web page just like Edge, and it's fairly similar to the one we saw in Edge. So if you figure out how to do bookmarks in Microsoft Edge or Chrome, you pretty much know how to do the process in both. They're slightly different, but they're going to be very similar. So we have our bookmarks bar and our other bookmarks folders on our left navigation pane. And then we have the viewing area on the right. To create a new folder or a bookmark, we have to go to the menu icon. And it's on the right here, but it's within the web page. So not up in kind of the menu bar area, but still in the web page. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And like with Edge, when we create a folder, it's just going to become a subfolder of one of the other options that are on the left. So once I have the folder created, I can drag and drop just like I did with the other browsers to move my bookmarks around. And I can make as many folders as I need. I can change my mind and get rid of them later. We have all of those options. So I know I went into the most depth about the Firefox browser, but the concepts are the same for each of the 3 we are looking at. So One thing that I will show you is how to rename a folder. So to do that in Chrome, I'm going to right click on the folder in the navigation pane that's on the left. I'll choose rename from that drop-down menu, and I will just change the name and then press save. And to rename one of the bookmarks, I would click on the 3 stacked dots to the right of that specific bookmark and then choose edit. And then I have the option to rename. So when I'm done putting the new name in, I can just click save to confirm. So it is a pretty similar process if I want to rename my folders or my bookmarks in Microsoft Edge or Mozilla Firefox. So the concepts are really the same no matter which one you're using. You may just be using different words, or they may be set up slightly differently. So we have shown you how you can organize bookmarks in all 3 browsers. That's it for today's video. If you liked it, make sure you let us know. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook on our MCPL 360 page. We have new videos every Wednesday and Friday at 1 p.m. And if you missed the live event, you can always find all of our videos on our YouTube channel. You can find all of our videos there on our Consumer Technology playlist. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you again next time.